Welcome to WEgate 2020 Summit. We are now live, and good morning, everyone. I'm so glad that you've all joined. On behalf of WEgate, welcome to the WEgate Summit 2020, which is organized in partnership with ESPA, Mir Foundation, Business Angels Europe, and with the support of COSME of the European Union. My name is Aida Bakri, and it's my pleasure to be your moderator today. We will kick off shortly with the plenary sessions, and these are very aptly entitled We Act, We Inspire, We Debate, and these will go on until 11 o'clock. Then we will move into the We Grow sessions, which are community sessions, the community council and the matchmaking sessions. In the afternoon, we will have 2x2 parallel workshops under the We Learn heading. And then we will celebrate in the closing session at around 4:30. So 2 words on housekeeping before we start. For the audience, please use the chat box to post your messages and questions. And for the speakers, please note that you will hear a sound when your time is up. And the sound is something similar to this. At this point, please wrap up because we don't want to fall behind schedule. We have a great program for you today, ladies and gentlemen. And so without further ado, I would like to welcome our We Act panel, who will be sharing a new vision for the European Gateway for Women Entrepreneurs. In a moment, we will get to hear from our WEgate team. But first, it's my honor and pleasure to introduce Deputy Director-General, Mrs. Kristin Schreiber from the European Commission, Directorate-General for Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship and SMEs, also known as DG Grow. Kristin has been a long-standing champion of innovation, SMEs, and women entrepreneurship, and a dedicated advocate for financial inclusion for women, with a special recognition and thanks for all you have done over the past 5 years in your various roles to create an enabling environment for women entrepreneurs. Ms. Schreiber, the floor is yours for 7 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much for this kind introduction. I'm still only director, but everything else was was fine, and thanks a lot for highlighting that. Indeed, I have to say it was almost like a red thread throughout my career to look really at helping women entrepreneurs to be able to develop and come forward with their business ideas. So I think it's really great that we can hold this WEgate Summit today. And I think the support of women entrepreneurs to create and run successful companies is more important than ever now. So I'm really glad we managed to gather together. And I think it's also a sign of really strong commitment from all of us. So I'm really very, very pleased. I think it is fair to say that when you look at surveys about the fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic, it seems that women are very often hit more severely than men, both economically and socially. And I mean, women are clearly more likely to be made redundant or forced to quit their jobs to take care, for instance, also of children or the elderly. So we have seen a return into sort of more traditional patterns of division of work, which was sort of reinforced by the crisis. And a large share of women work in sectors or have companies that have been particularly hit by the pandemic. And just would like to quote a recent survey which showed that female-led SMEs are 7% more likely to have closed their business in comparison with male-led SMEs. So I think this is something really we have to watch. I would also like to quote a recent OECD survey from 2019, the report on missing entrepreneurs, which points out that women face several barriers to entrepreneurship, and notably in the area of entrepreneurship skills. Although I have to say, I'm not sure it's a problem in terms of skills or in terms of auto-perception of skills. I think that would actually warrant to be further digged into. So over the 2014-18 period, only 34.5% of all women in EU member states felt that they had the knowledge, so a bit more than 1/3, and skills to start a business, compared to about 50% of men in the EU. And furthermore, women were more likely to report a fear of failure when compared to men. So almost 50% of women were afraid to fail, only 40% of men. So again, I think this warrants further digging into and may also sometimes be a greater awareness. But still, I think it's worth noting, and it's clear that the current crisis has actually accentuated this gap. You're all familiar, I think, with our SME strategy for a sustainable and digital Europe, which we adopted in March this year, just actually days before Europe went into general lockdown. And here, I mean, women and men entrepreneurs are really at the focus of the strategy and all the support measures to help them with the transition to sustainability and digitization. We're obviously also looking at the issue of regulatory burden, which remains very acute, and the opportunities to improve access to finance. And I would also like to flag the Commission Gender Equality Strategy, the forward-looking one, 2020-2025, where the whole point of educational upskilling activities are clearly earmarked as crucial for SME managers and employees, and with a focus on empowering women and girls to be founders and improving the gender balance among those creating and managing businesses. And I have to say, on a personal note, I was very impressed that in the country I come from, in Germany, we finally managed to get a move forward with regard to women in boards. So I think there is really a lot happening also with our societies, but still a lot needs to be done. So you know that we are working very intensively on implementing our Enter-Comp framework. And here we are supporting all these peer-to-peer learning by organizing different workshops. And I mean, you mentioned the COSMO program, which is and still is until the end of the year, the first ever specific program for SMEs. And we have used this funding to organize these workshops in order to make sure that we transfer knowledge, skills, and experience across European countries. And then let me finally flag that given the fact that women launched 1/3 of companies in Europe, but their companies remain totally underrepresented in raising risk capital, the SME strategy also announced that the Commission will launch a gender smart finance initiative under the new program, the successor program to COSMO, which is InvestEU. And we want to fund and empower, inspire female founders and investors, and we will focus simultaneously on investing and building capacity. For instance, under our InvestEU equity product, we will provide financial incentives to female business angels and female-led and diverse management teams and funds investing with gender investment strategies. So I think this is an important additional component, because that's, I think, what is crucial, that we target the entire range of from sort of classical women entrepreneurship to women in high tech. Of course, in 2016, we had created WEgate to raise awareness, share good practices, and showcase success stories and role models about inspiration and boosting confidence in potential, particularly women entrepreneurs, but of course also with existing entrepreneurs. And one important point here is also when you pitch, for instance, to investors in the general sense, or when you sell your business case, I mean, this is really important to gain and benefit from experience from others. And I think this actually complemented very nicely activities we have also done under the Enterprise Europe Network, which have already been put in place for female entrepreneurs. And so the key issue, I think, that women have access to networks, because normally, let's say, their own traditional, let's say, networks are often smaller or simply less efficient because they're more sort of based on family, friends, or maybe educators. So it's really important to broaden these networks for women and to work on this. And I think we're on a good way to do that. So today, and now I'm coming to our event today, we can really see what the new WEgate can do in this respect. And I think I had a look at the program, and I think we have a really interesting program where we will really witness incredible resilience that many women entrepreneurs have shown during these very challenging times. I've seen some familiar names of women entrepreneurs with whom we have worked already a lot, who have explained and shared their experience already, for instance, at the SME Assembly. So I'm really happy that we can go into this, looking at shifting business models and how one can basically make sure not only to survive, but to come out strengthened in this crisis context. And so this new WEgate will offer better services connecting women entrepreneurs, also with other networks and business organizations, but should also facilitate their access to online marketplaces, as well as, of course, the more traditional activities, mentoring, training, and peer-to-peer learning. So we obviously really need your ideas now to make sure that these services actually really correspond to the true needs of women entrepreneurs. And so I'm very much looking forward to the discussions, and I'm sure we'll identify lots of creative ways of strengthening our female entrepreneurs and getting out all the potential which is sometimes still hidden during the course of the day. So thank you very much, and let's have a great day.
Thank you so much, Kristin Schreiber from the European Commission. This was a very, very wonderful way to open the WEgate Summit 2020 and to give us a really great picture of all the different initiatives that the European Commission is seeking to undertake and is already underway with. So I'm sure we're going to get a few questions. Please remember, if you want to ask a question, type it into the chat, dear audience. And we'll be coming back to you, Ms. Schreiber, if you don't mind, right after this, unless you are unavailable, in which case we could maybe take a question now. Are you staying till the end of the session?
Normally, yes, but I have to say I wouldn't mind if questions come now, because, you know, there are sometimes things on standby and you never know. In this virtual world, you know, people call you into meetings without formal notice. So if you don't mind, I would prefer taking questions now.
That's fine. I had a feeling that could be the case. And I'm wondering now, we do have a couple of questions coming in gradually, I think, but and of course we collected them earlier at the time of the registration. So one question that that a number of the participants are wondering about is, so with all these new initiatives coming and new invest, you know, how will this really benefit women entrepreneurs concretely? Could you maybe try to give us an example of something that a woman entrepreneur could really make use of? I know you mentioned digital, I know you mentioned the network and the whole ecosystem, training, mentoring, and so on, but how would she benefit directly?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at what we try to do from the European level, of course, I mean, you always have to look at different aspects. On the one hand, of course, you have a female entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. So I would say all the measures we are undertaking for SMEs, of course, benefit women entrepreneurs as well. And I think what is crucial that when you look at the focus of our SME strategy, we have a number of measures which I would say are horizontal. And whether you are like setting up your own hairdresser shop or a sort of some online jewelry, or whether you are a woman in high tech, finance, I mean, it's always important that you don't have additional regulatory burdens. So some issues I would say really apply across the board. But then, of course, it would be foolish to say that you have exactly the same challenge, even for instance, with regard to access to finance, whether you need a relatively small amount of money to really become independent and have your small business with maybe 1 or 2 employees, or whether you're sort of, you know, trying to develop the new vaccine against COVID. So clearly they are different. And so that's why we really have different measures for different types of entrepreneurs. And I would like to stress in particular what I already mentioned in the area of this gender smart finance, because here we clearly see that women, and that's actually across the board, whether it's sort of in the, you know, high pitching, where still there is very often a male bias in, and there I think female business angel networks are extremely important, not because they will just sort of make sure that a woman gets access to finance because her business, despite the fact that her business plan is maybe less good. I think that's, you know, sometimes you have these strange, weird remarks coming up, but I think it's really sort of eliminating the biases in terms of pitching and looking, you know, behind, and providing also training, because this can really be learned how to pitch well. And we have the same experience when you want a bank credit to you know, to set up, as I said, your own little shop, your own hairdressers, I mean, we had all these interesting stories about jewelry, about clothing, etc. And very often banks are extremely reticent. And here again, I think we have measures to target women specifically. So for me, it's really important. It's a whole, and I think women should not only look at, you know, the specific measures for female entrepreneurs. They're very, very important. But of course, we need to look at the global picture to make sure that they can tap into all the different possibilities which are there.
That's great. Thank you so much for that very complete answer. One extra question which has come in just as we were speaking is from Luis Musenge, asking, what are the specific criteria to benefit from this support, training and financial?
Well, actually, it depends on the type of sort of a network you're using, but I think, I mean, under the WEgate, it's quite clear. You just have to basically indicate your interest and get part of it. If we take the Enterprise Europe network, this is also a very important type. This is completely free. Yeah? I mean, basically, you have to have a business idea. And then you go to your, that's the beauty of the Enterprise Europe network, you go to your local representation of the Enterprise Europe network. It depends in each country, it's different. It can be with a Chamber of Commerce or with some innovation agency, so that's very easy to find. And then they will actually accompany you with your business idea, and the additional service provided is there is this sort of networking among female entrepreneurs to provide additional information. But here again, you know, I mean, I feel very strong about equality issues. And I mean, I have worked for 5 years. I was a head of cabinet as a commissioner dealing, among other issues, with diversity and with equality. And I think we really always have to tap both ways. Huh? You have to give special incentives. You have to have these female networks. But the important thing is also to access sort of the mainstream entrepreneurship support, and to help women actually get into this. And for me, that's why I said at the beginning, these OECD figures, which are just put, you know, women have less skills. I would really question it. I think women are more aware of also the, you know, the issues which can come up, but it doesn't mean they necessarily have fewer skills. And this is also, that's why all these points about support also in terms of, you know, second chance, I think are crucial to, you know, to boost the confidence and to just basically get through with the idea.
That's right. And women are classically known for being risk averse. So that can sometimes be confused with not having the right skills.
Yeah, which is everything in life has two sides. Huh? It has a positive side of being more aware, but of course it also has a negative side that you need somebody to encourage you to jump.
Exactly. And that's why mentorship and capacity building is also very, very important. Thank you so much, Ms. Schreiber, for that very nice answer and for your intervention. I would like to remind the audience as well that we have the results of the first ever Pan-European WE Barometer 2020, which will be also discussed in a later panel. And there we will have a very, very complete and new information about the specific challenges of women entrepreneurs. We will also get to hear from 3 fantastic women entrepreneurs, 3 female founders, about their challenges through resilience and through the pandemic time. So, but before we do that, I would now like very much to hand over the floor to our fantastic WEgate team, which is coordinated by David Caro, long-term entrepreneur, having run his own business throughout his career. He is the president of the European Small Business Alliance that represents 1.3 million SMEs across Europe. A true he for she and a wonderful example of men's allyship in the empowerment of women and women in business. David Caro, the floor is yours to introduce WEgate 2020, and please introduce the team as well, Eva and Gabriela, and you have 20 minutes in total.
Thank you, Aida. And thank you everyone for joining us in this very notable event. ESBA is proud to have been nominated lead partner of the WEgate project and to have such a talented supporting partnership team. Our great team includes North Macedonia Foundation for Management and Industrial Research, who help enterprises to start, grow, innovate, and access global markets. GYB International, an Irish-based research and consultancy company specializing in entrepreneurship, small businesses, and much more. GYB have been responsible for the analytical work on the WE Barometer statistics, the results of which we eagerly await, and you'll hear more about later. And Business Angels Europe, representing angel investment companies in Brussels and bringing great experience in business finance to the partnership. The original WEgate platform was created in 2016. By 2019, the Commission decided that the platform needed to be refreshed and given the capability to offer so much more to Europe's women entrepreneurial community. ESBA and the WEgate team are working closely with the ASME to create the best possible platform to help women entrepreneurs go from underrepresented in Europe's business community to taking their rightful place as equals in our business world. One of the many ambitious objectives of WEgate is the transformation of the platform into a sustainable community that both helps more women to become entrepreneurs and to grow their businesses. Relaunching the platform sets a milestone we are today celebrating, as it represents the first step in a wider transition from an old to a newer version of the European Gateway for Women's Entrepreneurship, WEgate. This is to better support its community and create opportunities in a rapidly changing and social and economic global environment. The ultimate objective of WEgate is to promote entrepreneurship and the growth of SMEs across Europe. Despite outnumbering men in the EU, women set up fewer businesses than men, and those that do tend to operate smaller businesses with fewer employees. It is critical, therefore, that action is taken and tools provided to encourage more women to become entrepreneurs and more women to upscale their businesses in order to promote growth and strengthen the competitiveness and sustainability of all enterprises in Europe. Quoting the Gender Equality Index 2020, the EU's progress on gender equality is still slow, with the index score improving on average by 1 point every 2 years. At this rate, it will take over 60 years to reach gender equality. We need to speed up this process, as gender equality and access of women to the labour market go hand in hand. And as part of this, we shall focus today on alliance instead of division. The access of women to all business is a shared challenge for all EU citizens, women and men, regardless of their background, as it means contributing to a common interest, an exclusive, equal, and therefore more efficient SME environment in the EU and abroad. We believe in the value of diversity in vision, business culture, experience, and capacity. So even if ESBA is not a woman-led association, it is more than willing to bring its experience in representing small business interests into the WEgate ecosystem and a more inclusive future. And I, as president of ESBA, and having my own manufacturing business for 43 years, I'm happy to lend my white, male, privileged business knowledge to the goal of advancement of European women entrepreneurs. A gender-specific approach is needed now to create the conditions for all women to have the opportunity to rise and thrive in business. But let's also keep an eye on the long-term goal. What we today call women-led businesses, tomorrow should be referred to as just businesses. The task is ambitious and will require the resources, power, and will of us all. Lastly, and very importantly, I would like to praise EASME for their vision of how WEgate should develop into a key instrument in driving forward women's entrepreneurship in Europe. And I want to thank Kristin Schreiber for her approval of and enthusiasm for the WEgate Refresh project. Thank you. Now I'd like to hand over to Eva Merloni, leader of the WEgate working team, to introduce that team to you. Thank you, everybody, and have a good day.
Thank you, David, and good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm Eva Merloni. I'm the project manager of the WEgate project, and I'm here today to introduce to you the new phase of WEgate project. That means so many different things. A new logo, a new visual identity, but mostly many other features and services that will really support women entrepreneurs to lean in the business sector. So in order for them to do so, we need to have a business environment enabling all women entrepreneurs to express their potential and to give their own contribution. So first of all, what we did, we worked to transform the former WEgate platform into a new platform which will be more responsive, interactive, and informative for all women entrepreneurs. We started improving the customer experience by creating a new WEgate visual identity and brand. And we also created a new human face in the person of an encouraging and tireless entrepreneur named Anna. And I think she is the most suitable person to introduce to you the fresh new look of WEgate. So please follow me and enjoy the video.
Meet Anna. She will be your AI assistant and guide during our WEgate adventure. Welcome to WEgate, the European gateway for women's entrepreneurship, now refreshed with a new visual identity. We want to help you as women entrepreneurs to start and grow your business with the support of our engaging community. On our portal, you'll find the best opportunities, facilitated by a network built upon knowledge sharing and experienced mentorship. WEgate is a place for all women entrepreneurs to share synergies and success stories through the use of our customizable features, such as the WEgate Marketplace, matching women entrepreneurs, industry experts and service providers based on offer and demand. The WEgate Community Forum, a networking space where you'll get inspired by the stories of successful women and the challenges they overcame. The WEgate Coaching Program, dedicated to matchmaking activities and peer-to-peer learning and training, updated insights, keeping you informed about initiatives for women entrepreneurs across Europe. Access to finance, focusing on investor relations for women-led startups and scale-ups. And then there is me, Anna. I am there for you 24/7 for any questions you may have on what WEgate has to offer. Join us on the WEgate platform, www.wegate.eu. We want to help you as women entrepreneurs to start and grow your business with the support of our engaging community, a community that will support you and the onset and growth of your business. We open doors for women entrepreneurs. WEgate.
So here we are back. I hope you like the new WEgate identity, and I also invite you to visit the new platform. The usual address wegate.com .eu, sorry, and also to check the new contents, the new functionalities, and the new services that the platform will provide to women entrepreneurs, which we design having in mind two main goals. First of all, we want to create a stronger ecosystem in which all women entrepreneurs can meet each other and find targeted services beside all the different needs and skills that women entrepreneurs have across Europe and beyond. But also we want to ensure the long-term viability of the WEgate brand and platform by developing a WEgate business plan, which will address the topic of the self-sustainability of the platform after the end of the project. So this is why we are working with the support of an extraordinary advisory board made by skillful women entrepreneurs in order to implement together different services, such as the marketplace that will allow matching among women entrepreneurs, industry experts, and services providers according to a tailor-made flexible business model. And if you are interested in this topic, I hope you subscribe to the upcoming session in the afternoon led by our senior advisor, Marco Torregrossa. But if you didn't, don't worry, because all the recording of the workshop will be available in our platform after the event. And beside the marketplace, we are also working on to develop a tailor-made training and mentorship program based on women entrepreneurs' real needs. And also on a dedicated service on access to finance that we all know is still a key aspect for women-led startups and scale-ups. And again, stay with us during the afternoon session to further exchange on this sensitive topic. In addition, I just wanted to mention that all these services will be based on a permanent collection of data on women entrepreneurs through the WEgate barometer that, as Aida already said, is the first pan-European survey, and its key findings will be presented late this morning by our colleague Thomas Cooney. But of course, all of these the function of the WEgate will work only with the support of a strong, a real community that both accompany us to ensure the long-term sustainability of the platform, but also can help and support more women to become entrepreneurs and to grow their business. but there is no better person than my colleague Gabriela to talk about the WEgate community. So I just would like to thank you all to join us during this first event of the WEgate project, and please follow us, being part of the community, subscribing the newsletter, following in our social media channels in order to keep you posted on the next activity and initiative and ensure a smooth cooperation between all of us in order to achieve this big challenge that we are facing right now. So, Gabriela, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eva, for the introduction. Greetings from my side as well. We are very delighted to welcome you all at our first WEgate annual summit. I do hope that you will find the different workshops, discussions interesting, that you will enjoy, but above all, that you are going to use the different opportunities for networking during and after the summit. We at WEgate, we value very much the power of networking. As Eva presented, you can see that our WEgate redesigned platform, WEgate.eu, it is a place where you can find very valuable information, advices, and inspiration. But you can also get in touch with other entrepreneurs, with mentors, stakeholders, trainers, and that's what makes the real difference. It is this community behind the platform that makes real difference, not only for the WEgate team. It really helps us a lot in doing our job, but it is also making a real difference for our community. We are talking about almost 2,000 members now in this community, coming from more than 40 countries. And while the majority of the members are women entrepreneurs, we also have lots of associations, networks, chambers of commerce, so stakeholders, meaning that the WEgate community in practice is much, much larger than these numbers indicates. And that is why we want to leverage on the community, not only for the networking purposes, but we want to leverage on this community in order to make our contribution to improving the overall eco-support system for women entrepreneurs. And how do we plan to do that? In fact, we have already started by organizing organizations working in the field of women entrepreneurship or interested in supporting the process. And we have set up the WEgate Community Council. The council, together with expert thematic groups that we will promote later on in the project, will help us, first of all, in advocating and representing the interests of this WEgate community. And then it will also help us in shaping recommendations and suggestions for concrete measures how we can improve this ecosystem. And we will do that by addressing some of the key challenges that women entrepreneurs face. And I have seen some interesting questions in the Q&A session previously by some of our members, and we will make sure to take them on board when we were going to do the different sessions later on during the day. Now getting back to the community. What we must understand and what is going to be discussed today is that if we want to make the real change, then we really must understand that it is the responsibility of every single one of us. So we cannot wait for somebody else to solve our problems. We have to collect the needs and then advocate and represent those needs in front of the different stakeholders in the community. And that is why we need your support. I invite you to check our WEgate Community Council session later on today so that you have an idea on what the Community Council is all about and what we're trying to do and what we're going to work very hard in the coming period in order to support women entrepreneurship development process. But I also invite you to join the community itself. Just register at the WEgate.eu platform. It will help you not only to gain first-hand information on what we are planning or we are doing at the moment, like events, webinars, study visits, or policy actions, but moreover, it will give you an idea on what you can benefit from it, and moreover, how you can contribute to it. So do support us in order to reach the different goals that we have in improving the system for women entrepreneurship support in Europe. Thank you very much for your attention. We are going to be together later on during the weekend WeGrow session at 11 a.m. So do join us there together with our council members. And please stay connected during the summit and afterwards. Write us your feedback. We will make sure to follow up on it either today or definitely in our future actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the WEgate team and well, to all of you, to all the panelists, Kristin, Schreiber and WEgate. overall, I found this session extremely interesting. You've also received lots of compliments, as you can see in the chat, for the new look and for the redesign. The video was very explanatory. So now, because we're a little bit short on time, I just want to ask one question specifically to the WEgate team. What would be the main services and features of the platform? Eva, I'm not really sure whether you touched on that, but if you could just in 1 minute, give us a quick idea of what that would look like and when we can expect them to be available.
Yeah, okay, very quickly. Thank you, Aida, for asking this question. I mean, I mentioned several services, and I know that, but I can say that there are some services already available on the platform, such as the Ask Anna features, this inspiring best practices and success story, the possibility to join the WEgate community, our webinars on access to finance and peer learning activity, and so on. On the other hand, we are currently working on setting up the marketplace and the tailor-made training and mentorship program that we expected to launch early next year, sorry. And so stay tuned and for the publication of these new services. But of course, there are other services more connecting to the WEgate communities that are in progress. So maybe, Gabriela, you would add something more specific about this point?
Yes, for us, it's very important to make the redesigned web platform not only, you know, appealing, as you already congratulate on the looks. I like the looks as well. It is also about making it more interactive, and all the different tools that Eva presented are in that line. So we want to have more interaction within the community, and community forum will be an excellent place for the community members to have a chance to discuss topics, to exchange ideas, best practices, start a different calls for action, and they can do that in different groups and topics. And that will be a great opportunity for networking within the community, because that is not existent at the moment. And another aspect that is very important for us is how we can support our members to do business. And marketplace will be a very important feature in that sense, but we are also going to introduce and we are going to integrate this another database, a partnership opportunity database. This is the database managed by another initiative of the European Commission, the Enterprise Europe Network, and they are managing this database of cooperation profiles from entrepreneurs from more than 60 countries. There are always around 9,000, 10,000 profiles, and we want to bring these partnership opportunities, these profiles for business, for research and technology closer to our WEgate community members. So we will make sure to integrate this database in our upcoming redesigned web platform. So that will be an added value for our community as well, in terms of trying to support them in finding business partners across the world, basically, not only Europe.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the panel. And now I would like to move very quickly into the We Inspire session. We're a little bit behind time. We're just 10 minutes behind time, but I think that we'll catch those up as we go. And I would like to introduce now 3 female founders who will share with us their learnings and incredible lessons of leadership through difficult times. Maybe we can turn on the videos now for Lisa Lang, Paloma Lozano, and Anna Ravanona. Welcome. Paloma, I see you.
Thank you, Aida.
How about Lisa and Anna? Anne, sorry.
Hi, Aida. Good morning. Can I ask the host to activate the video, please? Because it got disabled from your side, not from mine.
And me too, please. Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Anne. I see Paloma. Lisa, we're still waiting for you to come online with the video. Ah, there you are.
Hello.
Lisa, Paloma, and Anne, thank you very much for joining us today. We very much look forward to hearing your stories. Please, would you introduce yourselves and your companies in this order? Lisa first, then Paloma, then Anne, please, and explain how the pandemic affected you and your company. We'll kick right off. It'll be a nice and fluid discussion, and we'll circle through so that we each get a chance to speak. When you hear the bell, it means that it's time to wrap up. And we'll move to the next question, okay? So please, Lisa, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Hello, everyone. I hope you're safe and warm in this time. Great that you made it here. That's the beginning. It's actually like, you know, come huddle, join together, talk with people, because it's basically also that's what I do in my business. I have several companies. I started with electrocouture because I can be smart and pretty at the same time. So I went into wearable electronics. This company is now, we made several dresses which are now traveling from museum to museum. At the moment, it's the Marlene Dietrich dress, It Glows, is in Stuttgart in the museum, and it was in Chicago, and it will be in Dubai next year. And then I started the Powerhouse because I realized that like education is key, and it's like I can only change the market that much, but if I actually start to enable and educate a new generation, then the impact will actually be higher. And I can also turn it into a business and make money with it. You know, it's kind of handy. And I now in Portugal and actually went into manufacturing, and that was like the most volatile experience in the last 8-9 months, is because I actually wanted to go into technical electronic enhanced textiles. And then we ended up producing masks because, you know, we lost, you know, we had R&D projects in the beginning earlier this year. And I was like, 2020, this is gonna be our year. All of this work, all of like, finally moved, we established the company, everything lined out, booyah. And then the COVID crisis came. And then the customers called and said like, look, we can't, it's not canceled yet, it's like put on ice, we just simply don't know what's going on. Of course, payments didn't get released, and I just like sat there like, it just is like, what is going on? This is not fair. And there was like a great part of despair. But then also, this is, you know, in terms of entrepreneurship, I think this is not about like, you know, failure is, you have far more failures and far more no's than successes. And the key to success is simply just resilience. And that means just getting up every morning, being okay with that this is not fair, being okay with that it's very harsh out there, and simply just getting up every single morning and trying and trying and trying and trying again, and not being up. So I've learned not to get upset about the process and just like, you know, see it as a nature. This is the nature of the beast, so to speak. Finally, just as a little note, because I got asked about it, I think like the best story in terms of like me being entrepreneur, let me just be clear. I didn't get raised or trained to be an entrepreneur. It's a myth about like you're born innovator and entrepreneur. It's a process. You grow into it. I was supposed to be a housewife. I'm the first one in an entire family who went to university. But my mother always tells the story, is like when I was a teenager and I grew up in the countryside and we played ice hockey. And I always knew I wasn't like really good at a lot of things, but like the way how, when I did something, I did it with dedication. So I was really shit in ice hockey, but I really liked ice hockey. And I was always in the defense because the team knew, it's like, even though I really, with my skills, I can't stop you, but I will use my entire body to stop you. And that's what I did. You know, I might have broken a leg or so, but you know, that's like, so, but that's in everything what I do is I just do it like with my full body. And even it doesn't let me stop you if I know that I don't know anything, but I just simply get up every day over and over.
Absolutely. Those are really important mindset issues, Lisa. And I think I very much appreciate your candidness about how the pandemic came as a shock and sort of changed everything, and also the feeling of that it was very unfair. Let's move to Paloma. Paloma, please introduce yourself and give us an idea of how the pandemic affected you.
Hi, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and listen to you all. So my name is Paloma. I started my business in 2011, so nearly 10 years ago now, which looks amazing to me. I'm a co-founder. I have a business partner, Silvia Saria. without whom I would have never ever created a business. So that's the first tip. Having a good business partner is a key asset and a valuable asset. My company, WEgate Europe, is specialized in promoting innovation and entrepreneurship through collaborative activities at European level. Many of them are dealing with entrepreneurial education, and we also have a strong focus on female entrepreneurship. We are implementing the Entrecomp framework that Kristin Schreiber mentioned at the beginning, entrepreneurial competence framework developed by the European Union through different activities. And we work very closely with business, universities, associations, foundations, schools, community in general. And we are involved in many EU-funded projects. Among others, we are one of the intermediary organizations managing the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs program. So I'm very happy to explain about this program, not now because we have little time, but just check it out because it's a very interesting program helping entrepreneurs all over Europe and beyond. So when the pandemic struck, we were already used to working remotely. In fact, our team members are located in different places in Spain and in other countries. In fact, my business partner is based in Paris. I'm based in Madrid. So no big issues with going remote. What struck us were issues dealing with work-life balance. For example, people with smaller children had a really hard time not to go crazy. And also I personally felt a lot of pressure coming from others. So when so many people at the same time, all of a sudden started to work from home, we felt like many people were anxious and calling meetings all the time, keeping you on the phone, online. So with the feeling that you could not do your work properly because you were all the time connected with others. So
Paloma, can I ask you, so how did you cope with this? What did you do? Describe how you coped.
I don't have a perfect solution. What I'm trying to do is keep healthy, keep a balance, because this hyper connection and being so much time online has a very strong impact. So it's a psychological effect, a personal effect. And when you are responsible for a team, you also need to keep an eye on how this is affecting your team members and what you can do at corporate level so I don't have a solution. We are feeling that a lot, and it's been 9 months now, and it's getting harder, I think. Well, I'm trying to limit the time that I spend on online meetings, without much success, I must say, because I'm all the time. But that also brings a lot of opportunities. For example, we're having a lot of networking, training online, a lot of connection with others. That's easier now, thanks to this. That everybody's online, but at the same time, it's a lot of pressure on your brain. And when the work day is over, I try to balance that with physical exercise. Like I need a lot of action and family, spending time with family. Unfortunately, social time is and social activities have been so much limited that I miss that a lot. I mean, everybody. So I think that the strongest effect, I think, is psychological, and we need to be aware of that and try to think and act.
Be mindful about all these things.
Yes.
Try to keep a balance. Absolutely. Thank you, Paloma. I'd like to move to Anne now. Please, could you introduce yourself and tell us how the pandemic affected you?
Thank you, Ida. So I'm Anne Ravanona, hard name to remember, just remember Anne, like Anna from the WEgate, okay? So I'm Anne.
And I'm founder and CEO of Global Invest Her, and we are a platform, a global platform for women entrepreneurs focused on funding, on access to finance, and we've been in existence since 2013. And I'm personally on a mission to help get 1 million women entrepreneurs funded by 2030. Not by myself, it's by partnering through WEgate, partnering with the ecosystem. And to that end, earlier this year, I was very blessed to have been invited to a lunch with President Macron and with other key people to discuss Generation Equality Forum and women's economic empowerment. So one of the things we put forward is our campaign for 1 million Invest Hers. How do we all become an Invest Her? And we can all do that by investing in women, which is basically using the power of your purse. You can give your time, your money, your resources. That's how you become an Invest Her. It's not just about the money. So you can give your resources, for example, through the WEgate platform by coaching and mentoring other women entrepreneurs. You can give money by buying their products, buy our products. That's the best thing you can do to fund women entrepreneurs. And to that end, Ida, through this pandemic, what changed for us? We've had a platform, we had many different resources. We had an academy online. I've been doing webinars for many years. I've been doing a podcast since October last year. And I said to myself, okay, what more can we do? We need to do something more to help women entrepreneurs get funded, meaning get that money now, not in 6 months, because it takes a long time. And we've been working in this section for quite some time. So we created the Invest Her directory. So the Invest Her directory is a directory for consumers, partners, and investors to find you and your business. Okay, so if you check it out, and I'll post the links here as I'm speaking, so you'll get all the information that I'm sharing here. Basically, the Invest Her directory currently has over 500 women entrepreneurs from 50 countries and 80 sectors, and they are specially curated. So when I hear investors say, I don't know where the women entrepreneurs are, check out the directory. When I have a consumer saying, I don't know how to support women entrepreneurs, check out the directory. You can find incredible products and services. And we have broken it down by geography. We've broken it by sector, by source of diversity. So I really wanted, Ida, to help women entrepreneurs faster. And so I said, okay, this is our way of doing it. So check out the directory. You can already see the stuff. You don't have to log in anywhere. It's visible for everybody. We want people to be able to find you faster. The other thing that we did is we created a very first event called Boost Her Biz. And Boost Her Biz is a virtual summit all about promoting women entrepreneurs and promoting the investors who invest in them. So just like David said earlier, I really like the way he said he's a white male advocate using his privilege to support women entrepreneurs. At Global Invest Her, we wanted to use our privilege to help support women entrepreneurs. And our first event, Boost Her Biz, as you can see through the link, was focused on Black female founders. So check it out. How did I cope with this pandemic? Really, on a personal level, for me, the first thing was I had twice a week, weekly Zoom chats with some of my close friends. So every Tuesday and every Saturday, we would have a time in the diary where we would chat, where we would vent, where we would, be able just to be ourselves. The second thing was in our Invest Her community, I created a weekly member chat. So every Wednesday at 6 p.m. European time, I'm in there chatting with our members. And again, we're like, how can we help each other? And so just to be able to connect with each other was vital. And the other thing, building on what Paloma and both Lisa were saying, is get out, get exercise. I get stuck here in this chair like all of you. We're all hardworking entrepreneurs and people in the ecosystem. I get out with my dog, my wonderful dog Elio, and I'll stop there because I know you need to move on to the next question, Ida.
Well, you know what? I've had to kind of restructure the way we're going, because you've almost taken in some of the questions that I had prepared for you into your intros, and I think that what all of you have said, there's one red thread. It was kind of like surf the wave, try to stay in the eye of the hurricane so that you can manage everything and see the big picture without getting caught up in the whirlwind of the activity and the new way of working. And there is something to be said for leadership through all of this, because leaders lead people, managers manage things. And I'm sure you've all had the opportunity to understand that delegating and making sure other people are doing what they're supposed to be doing so that you can all lead with confidence and get through this. It has been very important. And now one question that I'd like to take some questions from the audience as well, but I would like to ask each of you, what do you consider to be your key successes now? And you've said some of them already, and I think that if you can, don't repeat what you've already said, but what advice would you give to other female founders that might be struggling to stay resilient? Lisa?
Being okay that you're not okay. Like, acknowledge that we are all emotional people. This is totally fine. Cry when you have to.
Yeah.
Scream when you have to. The worst thing what you can do at the moment is like to try to keep it inside. You get a stomach bug. Been there, done it. Understand your body. I went on a rigorous diet and an exercise schedule because, you know, you have to see yourself as as a marathon high sports person. It's the mind, it's your body, it's your spirit. What I actually did also, like with Anne, so like I very consciously started to spend time with people. My brain works 250 kilometers an hour, so I acknowledge that. So I feed the monster. So I'm started to randomly talk with a lot of people, from biochemists to astronauts to robotics engineers to fingernails and how to poach eggs. Totally fine. Learned all of that. But also like giving back, there is like this nice Buddhist saying is like that, like the access to happiness is like if you have somebody you can learn from, you have somebody you have on the same eye level, and somebody you can lift up. So that is like the whole triangle. And I take that, and also like Friday afternoons are my open office. Also like, welcome here everyone. I'm everywhere on social media, just contact me. I do open office on Friday afternoons where I consciously make mentor sessions. Also because mentoring is not only one way, because I actually learn a lot. I'm like, tell me, like this is super cool. Like at the moment, there's a lot about like female entrepreneurs, actually like craftsmen, women, offline businesses, how to get them online. And, but, you know, so, you know, I have a digital team, all female, all women agency, which is talking with women. So like all of that is just like making connections, because like everything counts. And also like, you know, just knowing it will become better, like, because it has to. Seriously, you know, it's the world is full with opportunities. That's a given. It's about you if you want to see it or not, or if you want to see the world as an entire problem. Everything starts. Everything. I know it's like a little bit kumbaya stuff, but especially when you're on a long journey, especially when we're in a long time, and here in Portugal, especially, I know the next 3 months are going to be the hardest of it all. Not only here, but in a lot of places, and especially on a long journey. And if you talk with mountain climbers or astronauts also, if it's in your head, you're your worst enemy.
Lisa, thank you for those empowering words. And I think that obviously one of the most important things is just to keep running, keep jogging, pace yourself, and don't stop. And it will get better. And I love that. Paloma, over to you, please. 2 minutes.
Absolutely agree. Great advice. It's difficult to add now. But yes, I would say I would encourage every woman entrepreneur to share her story and get involved in mentoring activities. I absolutely agree. Mentoring is so empowering, and it goes both ways. So you learn so much, both when you are mentoring another person or being a mentee, because it goes both ways. And first time I was asked to mentor a younger entrepreneur, I thought like, who, me? Do I have something really important to share? And you realize that you really do. Same thing today when I was invited to talk about my success. So I would never define myself as a successful woman entrepreneur, but I realized that it's important to share your story, because probably many women or potential entrepreneurs will relate to what I do, to the size of my company, to the kind of activity, even, and maybe not to other bigger companies or technology related companies. So it's important to showcase very different cases. And you can be big, small, work in different sectors. So it's important to share and to keep that networking community.
That's fantastic. And one of the questions we've received from the audience, Sue Rosano, is asking, what about somebody who's afraid to take the first step during a pandemic time? What advice would you give to them? So they're not an entrepreneur yet, but they'd like to set up their business.
Just start. Take the first step. Is it for Paloma, the question, Ida? Sorry.
Please go ahead, Anne. You've got the floor.
I would just say, just start. Every step it's like Lisa said, this is a marathon. So every step you take is taking you further towards it. I would say start talking to other people who are already entrepreneurs. Start looking at entrepreneurship events, watching different entrepreneurship events. Start putting yourself in the world of entrepreneurship and being surrounded by it to make it more and more familiar, because that's how we transition from one world to another. All of us, Paloma, Lisa, and I, we would have done other things before being an entrepreneur and becoming one, as Lisa rightly said, because you become it. So rest assured, I know there are degrees and courses that you can learn about entrepreneurship, but the best way to learn is to do it. So don't be afraid. I have a saying here, look at this. Everything you ever want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't be afraid. Take that first step. You will fall, you will make mistakes, and that's learning. It's all good. So don't beat yourself up about it.
That's wonderful advice. And I'd like to give you an opportunity. If you have one last bit of advice, please, could you
real quick
share that?
Okay, I have three key tips. 1, be kind to yourself during this pandemic. Be kind to yourself. 2, think big. Don't keep thinking small. Think big and bigger. And number 3, ask for more money. When you apply for the things, ask for more money. So be kind to yourself, think big, ask for more money.
Wonderful advice. Thank you very much. I'd love to thank this distinguished panel of female founders. You're an inspiration to all of us. And we wish you all the best of luck and courage, strength, and all the rest. Getting through the next few months. We're not completely out of it yet, but things are getting better. And as Lisa said, actually, I love to quote Lisa and some other quote, which I absolutely love. Everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end.
I love it.
Have a lovely day, and thank you very much. I'd like to move to the next panel. For those of you who have typed wonderful questions in the Q&A, thank you very much. We are monitoring them, and we will try very much to get back to you, answering all the questions at the end, okay? And we will have a sort of summary of this event where we will address those. Professor Helen Nergård and Thomas Cooney, Professor Thomas Cooney, thank you very, very much for joining us. We are now going into a session about the WE barometer. And without further ado, Professor Cooney, I would like to hand the floor over to you, because I think you will be introducing this first ever pan-European survey addressing the specific challenges of women in business, and having a chat with Professor Nergård along the lines of 6 questions, I believe. And I don't want to take any more time away from your session. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And it's a great pleasure to be part of this wonderful conference and part of this initiative. My role in the initiative is to work on the WE barometer and the survey, which was of 618 responses from across 29 countries, which fed into the WeBarometer report, which Professor Neergaard and I are about to discuss. I suppose what's interesting about this particular survey is that it was targeted at women entrepreneurs to get their opinions about the business environment and enterprise supports available in their home countries. And you know, it's a unique piece of work in that way. It's been launched today and it's available on the WEgate website. Here to help me kind of make sense of the results is Professor Helle Neergaard from, she's Professor of Entrepreneurship at the School of Business and Social Science in Aarhus University in Denmark. And Helle and I have worked together over many years in this space. Helle, you've had a chance to read the report in advance, and I suppose the idea for the next half hour is to tease out the results and why they might be showing in the way that they're showing. So let me start by asking you about the profiling of the respondents and what that is telling us, because two things that struck me. One is that 52% of respondents said that of those who'd started their business said that they started their business as part of a founding team, i.e. that there's more than one founder in the startup. Now, this is actually much lower than would be the norm. For example, the European Startup Monitor last year found that 78% of businesses were founded by multiple founders, and only 8% of those were all female teams. So first of all, we got a reduced number of founding teams. And the second kind of, I suppose, profile characteristic was that there was 67% of respondents said that turnover for their business was less than 100,000 euro per annum. And I'm wondering if there's a correlation between fewer teams and kind of lower revenue turnover. So would you care to kind of maybe talk to us about your experience in your research in around that space?
Yeah, well, yes, there is correlation. But I just want to start to point out that actually I think we need to look at some of the other figures in the WEgate barometer to kind of tease out the answers for this. Because if you look at the number of teams or the issue of teams, figure 10 of the report actually shows that many women start a business to achieve work-life balance because they have unfulfilled career ambitions in the current workplace, or to be their own boss, right? And this is something which also shows up in my own research, that these are the reasons why women start a business. So they're looking forward to working without a boss. They're looking forward to working without responsibility for other people. Basically, they've had enough of being bossed around, and they don't want to boss other people around. So they're not looking for a team, and they're not looking for employees. They're looking to create a good life for themselves, and they don't even think in terms of teams. So we know as researchers that teams have higher success, they have higher growth rates, but since very few actually leave that job for the financial rewards, this is less important to them. So if they can generate enough money to live on, then they're really happy. And if you look at, well, a turnover of 100,000 euros is probably a bit low if you're going to have a good life, because this is turnover. This is not the profits. We don't know what the profits are, but perhaps this is also related to the fact that a lot of women don't actually, start a business with a lot of employees, so they don't have to pay out employees. They may just have their own internet connection, and they may be ordering stuff from suppliers which is sent directly. I have several examples of that, so that they don't carry stock. They don't have to have employees who have to pack packages up and so on. So they also start businesses with lower turnover, lower overhead. So lower turnover, lower overhead kind of goes together.
And also, Helle, I noticed in the profiling, as you say, and in the broader picture, that like a substantial number of businesses are in the services area.
Yes.
So therefore, that could lend itself to lower turnover.
Yes,
True.
as well. And this is, I would guess that the figures are similar in other countries, but in Denmark we have quite a few women who work in public employment. So in the public sector, right? Now the public sector as such doesn't lend itself very well to producing entrepreneurs. So it's rare that you would go out from the public sector and become an entrepreneur within your own area of expertise, because those services are already taken care of by the public sector. And right this morning, they were actually talking about making it more difficult for women who own private daycares for children. So this will also push out women from that area of starting their own business, even if they are doing really well.
But I'm also wondering, Helle, and this was part of a discussion that I had elsewhere in recent days, that the definition of success, has a gender bias, arguably, right?
Yes.
And the cultural notion of success is around growing business, high turnover, large number of employees.
Yes.
And, we need to begin a conversation, or even go beyond that. We need to change the conversation.
Absolutely. What
does success mean?
Yes. So the current paradigm is as you say, it follows the man's version of, we have to have high growth, we have to have fast growth, we have to have rocket growth. We are talking about unicorns, we are talking about gazelles, and loads of women don't really identify with that. I do realize that there are some who do, and this is great, but the great majority, they don't. And they actually can't see themselves. And wherever I go and hold talks, I have women coming up to me when I talk about growth and saying, it's okay, it's a steady form of growth is actually also okay. It's good that you want to have black figures on the bottom line before you take the next growth step, because you're less vulnerable. Women want organic growth. And that's okay. And women come up to me and say, oh, it's so nice because for the first time, I actually feel that I belong here. So we also have to take care of our discourse and creating a paradigm where women feel welcome.
And actually, just kind of follow on that, one of the other, I think, outstanding findings, that I thought came from the report was that almost 2/3 of women entrepreneurs regarded the current enterprise ecosystem as moderate to very bad.
Yes.
That it doesn't work for them.
No, exactly. And that's because the current paradigm is a male biased paradigm, basically.
But when I talk to enterprise, support agencies, I'm told, we treat everyone the same, and our doors open to everyone, and
yes,
the language I receive, right?
Yeah, but the language is still that of a man. So if you want to treat everybody the same, you actually need to treat people differently because they have different starting points. And there is at the present time, there is very little support tailored to women or by women for women. The mean is the man, right? So women feel unwelcome and misunderstood. And I have many examples of women who go to business support agencies and they come away with nothing because the male advisors don't understand the kind of businesses that they run. And these advisors are actually often by the women described as condescending. So if a woman doesn't exactly know what she wants, she wants to go to the Business Advisory Center and get advice on that. But she doesn't know what a franchise is. So she can't ask for advice on the franchise. The man has to be able to understand her business and see through it and see that what she's actually doing lends itself to a franchise and then help her do that. Because once the women are told that, okay, this could be the way of going, then they'll just go there. I've seen that so many times. But they come from different educations. They don't necessarily have a business background, right? So this is something that trails actually further back to the kind of educations that women choose.
And also that starting point that you talk about, Helle, like again in the survey, the reasons why people were not starting a business, right, included, okay, poor support systems, which we talked about, risk awareness, to use Anne's language, access to finance, low self-confidence, and one that scored very highly, okay, was caring obligations. Now, I haven't done this question with men entrepreneurs, right, but I strongly suspect that we would have a very different set of results if, so therefore we're talking about different challenges.
Yes, and well, you wouldn't, if you put caring obligations on the list and ask men to rate, what were the reasons that they started a business, I think that would actually figure on the, very, very low. But again, we should not take men out of that equation, because there are men who would like to, or who do run businesses and like to run businesses the way that most women do. So some men will also have the caring obligations as a priority, but most men wouldn't. And so this is also about work-life balance. So women factor in everything. And here in the COVID pandemic, we have also seen that it's actually the women who are taking care of the kids in the kitchen while the man gets the office. And so she's running her business at the same time as actually schooling the children from home. So this is a hard balance right now to run with.
Yeah, I remember at your session at the SME Assembly that poll was being asked and about family responsibilities and caring obligations, and it was like 88% versus 12%, with female to male. I've got a question or a comment in here that, and I'm trying to keep an eye on questions and comments, is that it's not that women aren't interested in growth, that there's different categories of growth. So just to be clear on that, you're not suggesting that women are not growth oriented.
No. They follow what I would call the small steps principle. So they would like black figures on the bottom line, and then they'll take the next growth step. So it makes for probably a longer path to growth, and it also impacts their attitude to getting, for example, venture capital. Because venture capitalists, they would like a fast return on investment. And if you are more interested in making sure that you are a solid business, then perhaps venture capital is not the first place you're going to look for capital. So this could also kind of impact some of the results around who is actually financing women and where they're looking for finance. Not that venture capitalists are not biased, because we all know that, you know, from various research that there is a lot of bias in the system. But women also make choices that fit their strategies. And what I'm really saying here is that we should not overlook that women have their own strategies, and that these are just as valid as the strategies that men make. They're just different.
But just on that access to finance, because again, end report access to finance comes out really, really strongly across the report around being a significant barrier, right?
Yeah.
And as I kind of looked at different pieces of research around this, I was getting different kind of arguments being made. One was that it was the nature of businesses that women are in. Two was that women, you know, aren't looking for finance, or low level of demand. Three was that the people lending the money aren't interested or less interested. You know, four was that there was kind of low levels of confidence or education around finance.
Yeah.
You know, what are your thoughts on all of that, right?
Well, all of those explanations are valid at some level, right? So there is something about that the sectors that women choose may not warrant those huge investments as technology-based ventures do. But that doesn't then account for that what we see when women actually are in technology-based sectors, then they also don't get the money. So there's something else at play as well. And some of that, I think, is that venture capitalists and money lenders, they don't consciously gender discriminate. They're just not gender aware or gender sensitive. So we could do a lot by, you know, trying to educate the system about how they could become more gender aware or more gender sensitive.
Well, does that lead itself to the argument that we need more women in the system?
Well, yeah, yes, also that. But I also think that once men become aware that this is an issue, then perhaps they could change their spots.
Like, I see here in the chat room, like, you know, some people saying, look, we've heard this over and over and over again, you know, that you know, treating everyone the same, you know, doesn't work, that we need to change, you know. So, you know, like, do we need tailored supports? Do we need dedicated supports? Do we need to say, look, like,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, and I actually think, you know, I've been campaigning for a fix the system approach. Right. Every time I talk, you know, that's what I'm focusing on. I'm advocating that we listen to the women, and I think that actually the WEgate barometer here is the first step towards us listening to the women. But we need to get many more women to reply to these surveys, so that we get a better picture of what is actually going on in the different countries, because the countries, not only are men and women different, but our countries are also different in terms of the systems and of the setup. And we need to understand that.
Yeah, like I know, for example, in Ireland, where I'm based, is that back in 2012, you know, they looked at the data around women applying for funding for high growth competitive startup funds, right? And the number of women applying was really, really low. And they created a women's only, you know, or targeted, you know, women's only initiative, right? And it was the same type of program, but it was promoted and presented in a different way and targeted only at women entrepreneurs. And it's been hugely successful. And each year, it's now in its 7th or 8th iteration. Each year they're getting in excess of 120, 130 applications. So the demand was there.
Yeah.
You know, so it just wasn't, it wasn't being promoted or encouraged in an appropriate fashion.
Well, I think that women actually don't apply because they expect that they don't get the money. So it's not worth the effort. They see the system as biased. So we're not even going to try. And I also see, I see here in the chat that somebody says, no, it's not true. Men don't change their spots, or they haven't. I'm not saying that they have. I'm saying that they can. Right. So but it takes an effort. We need to educate these people. And of course, maybe some are so set in their ways that they won't change, but we at least have to try, because if we don't try, then we don't achieve anything. So
and I would agree.
Different fronts, and we also heard that earlier today. We need to keep on trying. This is a marathon, right? And so it's not a sprint. It's not something that we're going to change in 50 yards. It takes a longer time, but we do need to do something.
Yeah,
right
and I would say, Helle, is that, and it's everyone's responsibility.
Yes.
We can't keep pointing fingers at governments or enterprise agencies. We're all responsible, and
we're all responsible. But they do actually have a greater responsibility because they are the ones who are promoting the current paradigm. And I'm constantly hearing, in the Danish press, well, women just have to act like men and then everything will be all right. No, it will not. Yeah. And women shouldn't have to act like men to be part of this world. There's a need for women also to be women. We address different problems. We innovate different things. So there is a huge need for women to have a presence as well.
And again, just like an initiative in Ireland, and this is a plug for Paula Fitzsimons and the Going for Growth program, but I think Paula has led this initiative where, it's highly successful entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, act as peer mentors on a growth-orientated program that's been enormously successful across a large number of years. So again, when the programs are there, the demand is there and the success is there.
Yes, yes. But if we don't offer the program, then there is nothing. And yeah. I think it's too hard for all the grassroots movements, because we see lots of networks around the countries. We see lots of networks, women entrepreneurs networks in Denmark, but they also need the support of the system to really make an impact. What I would be worried about if we only had a kind of top-down approach. So somebody not offering women mentors, but saying, you have to have a mentor and it has to be this type of mentor, right? It needs to be an opt-in, it needs to be a choice, and you need to be able to choose somebody with whom you feel you have a chemistry.
Helle, I'm conscious of time, and the recommendations, there was 4 kind of key recommendations at the end of the report, and to share with people. Recommendation 1 was each government or national enterprise support agency should appoint a champion who would advocate for women entrepreneurs. 2 was every enterprise support agency should review its operations to ensure that its programs and supports are designed to maximize participation by women. 3, enterprise agencies should provide dedicated start your own business, mentoring and networking initiatives for women entrepreneurs. And 4, financial institutions and enterprise support agencies should collaborate to introduce targeted initiatives for women entrepreneurs that provide the tailored sources of finance. 2 questions to finish on. 1 is, would you agree or disagree?
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I have an old grandfather's clock, and this is the only place in the house where there's actually a very good internet connection. Sorry, it's gone now.
Yeah, so the two questions are coming from that. One is, would you agree or disagree with the 4 recommendations? And 2, you know, is there any recommendation that's missing there that we need to think about for future consideration?
I'm very, very happy with the last 3. They fall right into fix the system approach. So I can only, you know, say very good, yes. I'm a little bit hesitant with regard to recommendation 1, and just a little bit, because I think it's important to be very careful who the selected champion is. We have to remember again that the countries in Europe are very different, and the systems are different. So the kind of champion that would work in one country might not work in another country. So that's hesitation number 1. And the worst thing I think that could happen is that the chosen person does and thinks entrepreneurship the way a man would do it. So, you know, I would like to avoid that somebody comes in who would just promote the current paradigm. You know, that women have to grow, and they have to grow the man's way. Then you might actually end up worse with a fix the women approach instead of a fix the system approach. And then I also think that we have to remember that these 4, they're just the what. We have to decide on the how, and the how is what's important here. So how are we actually going to implement this is going to be the most important part.
Hele, I could talk to you for another hour. Obviously, by the chat room reaction, and I apologize profusely to people. It's just been impossible to keep up with the chat room and to try and take from the chat room the questions. But obviously, we've triggered, you know,
I will try and go in and have a look and see if I can answer some of it afterwards.
Yeah, afterwards, yeah, and that would be greatly appreciated. And undoubtedly, we'll come back to this again on a future occasion because, yeah, it's generated enormous interest. And
but for the WEgate barometer, I'd say keep on going. Let's do it even better next time.
And thank you so much for joining us. And just before we go, is that a poppy behind you? Are we talking tall?
Oh yes, we're talking tall poppies.
Well done, well done.
Yeah.
Helen Neergaard, thank you so much for being with us and for teasing out the results. And
great being here. Thanks for inviting me.
Cheers. Ida, it's back to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Thomas and Helle. Your discussion has been very, very informative, and as you could see from the chat, really full of recognition for the amount of research that went into the WEgate barometer, the amount of time that you've put into this. Tom, you're a real he for she. Thank you very, very much for doing this. And Helen Neergaard, thank you ever so much. I think you managed to really tease out the most important aspects that we were all really looking forward to reading. And I think that there's just resounding recognition from the audience that these matters are important, and they won't change unless we all change and unless we all really make the effort to draw these things to the attention of the decision makers in all our different communities. And it is an ecosystem approach that we need. So just one little bit at a time will help every little bit of that ecosystem. So thank you ever so much for that very inspiring discussion. Many thanks. Now I would just like to inform everybody that we're going to take a quick 10-minute break in order to set up the We Grow community sessions. As you know, from 11 until 1 o'clock, we have a B2B matchmaking session that's ongoing, and I think that all the participants will have had the opportunity to book the meetings if that's the session you'd like to attend. Alternatively, we also have the community council session, the WEgate Community Council, which will end at 12:30. Both of those sessions will then finish up, and we come back for the workshops at 2 p.m. So please, everybody, I think you know where you need to be. I'm going to close this session now. We have a 10-minute break until we start up again. It is exactly, what's the time now? 11:05. So it'll be 11:15 until the WEgate Community Council starts up. And in the meantime, enjoy all your bilateral meetings. I hope you're enjoying the tool. I hope you're enjoying the discussions so far. And thank you very much, everybody, for being here.